A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. Let's do some intentions. I'm going to read this intentions, and I would like to say that we get so many very, very similar to this for intentions. So if you're feeling this way, you are one of many, many listeners because I see this email in some way, shape, or form all the time.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Dear Jordana and Dr. Naomi, I am writing in today looking for an intention. I'm turning 30 in a couple of months, and it's causing a great deal of stress and anxiety. I'm not where I thought I would be at this point in my life, single, no kids, living in a small apartment in a city I don't love. I know everyone lives on their own timelines, but I feel ready for the next phase of my life to start, and I feel like I am just stuck in this holding pattern, and for some reason, 30 feels like the big turning point, like I need to get my act together. I also had this vision of how I wanted my 30th birthday to go, and it's looking less likely that it's going to happen. Hoping for a romantic getaway with a boyfriend, but alas, I am single. I just feel like this day is a dark cloud hanging over my head. How do I not put so much pressure on this birthday and also not feel sad and disappointed on the day itself? Thanks, 30, flirty, and not yet thriving.
Yeah. I feel like this feeling that you have, that one has on these big birthday milestones when you even any birthday, right? Yes, we can talk about 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever age you are coming to. But I think this could happen any birthday of like, oh, it's been another year and I wanted this thing to happen.
I thought I would be here at this point in my life, but I'm not where I envisioned this, at an earlier time.
Yes. And I do think a lot of people, they have this, it's a marker. It's like, well, last year on my birthday, I was here and I envisioned this goal for the next year of how that was going to go. And here I am again.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't happened.
And similar to the last email with the person complaining about their body, I think we sometimes at these milestones, we are looking for like what is missing from where we were last year or what we still haven't gotten to. And It's much easier to focus on that than anything that we've actually accomplished. I know I do that all the time. I just think about what I don't have that I wanted this year. And I don't think about anything that I've actually accomplished. So it is hard. I relate to that.
Accomplished or maintained, just in terms of like, I've maintained friendships, I've maintained this job, I've paid for my apartment, like just kind of and somehow maintaining feels like not good enough. We need to be growing and doing more and changing and getting better. Again, one of the things that we talked about in the groups that I run is just spending a week not working on yourself. Just spending a week being like, I am not, like I am not going to be working on myself. I am fine just the way I am. I don't need any other additional external or even internal factors to change for me to feel okay with myself. And we're just wired that way. It's like we're working against, our evolutionary biology, where that's how we came to be doing all the things that we're doing, because we always want more. We always want the next thing.
Right.
We have a hut with like a roof. Now we want a hut with like a roof and 4 walls, and then you want like a floor, and then, which is fine. But I think if you it sometimes runs crazy and it feels like it's never going to be enough. And it's not.
Right.
Like she's going to find the partner and then she's going to want the engagement and she's going to get the engagement.
Right.
She want the wedding. We talk about this all the time.
Right. But it is tough. Like, how do you, because I think like, I don't want to invalidate that, like, this is that it is tough to want to be in a phase of life that you were not in yet and to be like yearning for that and longing for that and to feel like nothing you're doing is getting it. So I do want to of course, ideally we're all just thinking about the good things and the positive things that we don't have. But I also want to say I totally understand, feel that feeling of I'm frustrated that I want this thing. I want to be in this phase and I'm not there yet. So I
Yeah.
think it's like tough to, I kind of like, I guess you could give weight to both. You could give attention to both.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't think the goal is for her to be like, well, just pretend that like you're fine, that I'm happy and totally fine without it. So I think that, we also talk about this too. Like, what's the right way to look at things where we're acknowledging and like mourning the things we don't have, but also
Yes.
not letting it like consume us.
This is really hard with whatever age you go through this or every birthday. And I think it does help sometimes to break it down to, like you're saying, what is the feeling that I'm really feeling like that's painful? So maybe in this case, it really is loneliness. Like if she envisioned that she would have a boyfriend, that's what she wants. Like I think just looking at that for what it is, like I feel lonely, and like being able to allow yourself to feel lonely and feel sad and like have, the feeling of whatever it is that you're missing. Or let's say you're not at a point in your career that you want it to be. Like I feel scared that I'm not enough. Like kind of pinpointing the thing
Mm-hmm.
that's underneath the thing that's making this feel like this, because sometimes your mind can just run crazy and then you don't even know what you're just like overall just like wrapped up in this, torrential downpour of nothing. This isn't the way I want it. Instead of being like, okay, I need to lean into,
Right.
I feel lonely, or I feel not enough, or I feel left out, I think is a big one for a lot of people. Like I feel
Yes.
excluded if like everyone's getting married and talking about their fiancés and their trips with their partners, and I feel excluded from that. Or I think those are the big things that are underlying it. So sometimes if you can see that for what it is, I agree, and like allow yourself to have that feeling, then it doesn't become just like the wild west of negative emotion around this entire birthday. And then you're just like, going down a dark hole,
Yes.
when it is more specific, like about what it is that you're really upset about, I think most of the time.
I agree. I think it's good to like give it some attention so that it's not, like she said, it's a dark cloud hanging over the day. So it's like, let's like face it before the day.
Yeah. Or even like on the day, I think you can just honor where you're at. And if you want to wake up and like, you know, I have some good meditations. I think I've spoken about them on here, like for when you want to really like lean into and allow yourself to feel your feelings kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you want to wake up and do one of these like feel your feelings meditations and wake up and kind of have a good cry about like the things, like let yourself have that sadness, great. That doesn't mean anything about your life or your day or the rest of your day. It's like a 30-minute, I'm going to let myself feel the feelings of what this is. And then I'm also going to get up and find the small joys in the life that I have, which I think is one thing, like we're talking about, where you place your attention is what your experience is going to be. So it might not be a trip to Bermuda with like your,
New
gorgeous
boyfriend.
fiance,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Boyfriend. It might be, making yourself a delicious cup of coffee and just like smelling the smell of the coffee and being like, I'm going to sit outside and drink my coffee and enjoy this small, joyful moment, sensory experience. And it doesn't mean that you have to go one way or the other. You have to either deny that you're sad or you have to, totally be like mopey all day and not give into it. So I think you can find that balance. And I also think this birthday is not going to be about, embracing a new exciting life and adventurous changes. This birthday is going to kind of hone into what I think is a lifelong skill, which is finding strength and acceptance and patience for where you are, because this will come up again eventually.
Right. I agree.
At some other point in your life, it's going to feel like a
Yes.
stagnant feeling.
So do you have a attention for her?
Yeah. So I have a couple. I have two that I can kind of offer. One is we cannot control when the seasons change, but we can control our attention to small, joyful moments within them. And that's kind of like lifelong going to get you through that. And as far as the birthday in specific, just for her to realize that there is growth in this. It might not feel fun. It might not feel like exciting and the best, but when you're uncomfortable, that's when you're growing and changing.
Right.
So some birthdays feel like a symbol of exciting new phases and adventures, and some are symbolic of my strength in acceptance and patience. And it sounds like this one's going to be symbolic of your strength in acceptance and patience. And I agree with you, Jordy. I think if you can kind of also give yourself time to allow yourself to feel lonely or behind or excluded or whatever that is, I think it would be good to kind of give that some attention that it deserves, because it is hard.
Agreed. Well,
But
good luck.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. This
exciting.
is a good one. Honestly, the day is yours. It's also great when you have a birthday that feels like a little lonely, or you don't have like a person that's planning you some fun adventure that you're doing something together with, to figure out like, what do I just want to do? Which you don't often have the, luxury of being like, literally, what is my choice of what I want to do, and be a little selfish that day. Like if you don't want to take a phone call, for example, or if you don't want to, go see this person, or you don't,
Go get a massage.
Yeah. Do whatever you want to do on that day. And it's a great
do what I want to
do. Yeah.
Okay, let's do some triggers. You ready?
Yes.
You want to read our first one?
I will read this. Hi, Jordana and Dr. Naomi. I absolutely love the podcast. I'm subscribed to both You Up and Oversharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
There have been many times I've thought this would be perfect for oversharing, but I've finally been triggered enough to write in and hear what you both have to say. To preface, I'm frequently triggered by my mother-in-law. She's nice enough, but we struggle to connect beyond surface level conversation. We have completely different worldviews, and I often find myself dumbfounded by the things she says. I'm not confrontational by nature, and I typically try to brush things off, but ever since my husband and I had our first baby, her behavior has become harder to ignore. She scoffed at our decision to send our baby to daycare and has made repeated comments that subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, judge me and my sister-in-law for being working moms. She loves to remind us that she stayed home to raise 3 children, once even declaring at dinner, women just can't have it all. She frequently dismisses updated safety guidelines, insisting that because she raised 3 kids who turned out fine, our more modern choices are unnecessary or overly cautious. For example, when I mentioned my son has a slight flat spot on his head, she responded, "It's a shame they recommend babies sleep on their backs. Their heads are so soft." Yes, because back sleeping reduces the risk of sudden infant death, but sure, round heads. Then came the moment that pushed me over the edge. We were at brunch, and on the car ride over, I told her how our pediatrician said we could start introducing solids soon. Exciting. I made it clear that we hadn't given our son anything yet. His first taste of food was still a special milestone my husband and I were looking forward to. At the table, she was holding him on her lap. I happened to glance up and see her about to feed him mashed banana from her fork. No asking.
Sorry.
No asking. No, should we try to give him a taste? Just fork to face. I yelped, "Oh my God, no!" Not even knowing what else to say in the moment. To make matters worse, this banana was from her French toast, which was topped with powdered sugar, syrup, and also honey, which babies under 1 aren't even supposed to have because of the risk of botulism. But I'm sure that's just another new rule she rolls her eyes at. Not only did she almost rob us of our baby's first food moment, she also put his safety at risk. My husband, thankfully, is on the same page and was equally alarmed. He jumped in right away, her only response, a patronizing, "Okay, mommy said no." We let it go.
I read it more as like, "Okay, mommy said no."
One of those. We let it go in the moment, but I've been simmering ever since. So my questions are, how triggered can I be? Why would she feel entitled to give our baby his first taste of food, especially without asking? Isn't it common knowledge that this is a big sentimental milestone for parents? 2, what do I do with the ongoing pushback on safety guidelines? Anytime we mention current recommendations, back sleeping, no blankets or toys in the crib, nap schedules, no honey, etc., we get the same type of dismissive response. Oh, come on, I raised 3 children. I understand she's probably defending her own choices and feeling judged by ours, but I can't help but feel disrespected, mistrusting, and very triggered. Would love to hear your thoughts and advice. Thanks for letting me share and overshare. Love you both. Signed, Mommy Said No, Batch.
I would like to say I didn't really know that the first taste of non-breast milk was like a big milestone myself. So I don't know if that's I could see how that would be, I guess, a thing, but like I don't know. Is that a big thing?
Right.
Was that a big thing for you?
I think everything's kind of a thing when you're in
If
it,
it's your
but
first, maybe.
it could be, yeah. And when it's your first, it could be a thing, but then like everything's a thing, like the first
Right.
time that they use a spoon is a thing. The first time that they, sleep without a swaddle is a thing. There's so many first things that you can make yourself crazy. I do think it is a fun new experience to watch your child go through, that you kind of want to be there to see their reaction and how they like it and whether or not they, spit it out or, whatever. So I do. It's funny because now, again, I don't know how people will take this, but now that I've been a parent for 13 years, I do look back at some of these things that I got so tweaked about in the moment, and I can validate her because I remember we had a nanny that without asking me, I was at work and she played on like my working mom guilt also, not intentionally, but she put uh, baby cereal in with the milk without asking me. And I remember coming back and she was like, well, you were gone. And she was so hungry and she wasn't being satisfied. And I'm like, my breast milk is fine. It's satisfying enough. Like I was almost home. It's like a powdered baby. It basically thickens the breast milk. It's not really formula. It's like a cereal, like a grain of some sort. Like either oatmeal, like powdered oatmeal or powdered
fortifying something. Okay.
It's almost like you put water in it and you could feed it to them on a spoon, or you can put water or breast milk or something and make it like it's almost like a baby mash, whatever.
I see. Okay.
But she didn't say anything to me. And I took that as like, my breast milk isn't good enough. I'm working too much. You're making this decision for my baby. And I was really mad. Now looking back, I'm kind of like, okay, she was fine. Like nothing crazy happened because she got a little bit of this baby cereal. But in the moment, I felt probably similarly to how this person feels, where you're so sensitive, everything, they're like this precious little new, everything feels so special and important. And I get that they wanted to be the first one. I mean, they were at the table, so they would have been there for it.
Right.
I think
and then she looks like the crazy
from
person.
Yes.
Right. Because she's like, what are you doing? Oh my God.
Yes. Like lurching across the table to grab the banana. Yes. Right. Yeah. I get it. I don't think like a side swipe of honey from the side of the plate. It's not like she's giving him a spoonful of honey. I don't think it would have. I get it. I know babies shouldn't have honey. I'm not disputing that. But I think a little drippling of honey from the side of a plate is different than giving them like a spoonful of honey. But I get it. I think the bigger picture is that she feels like not respected as a mother, and like she's having to fight with her mother-in-law every step of the way with what she thinks is right for her baby, and that's frustrating.
And it's about like control, which I think all these mother-in-law fights kind of are about.
Yes.
Like the sense of like, who's the head bitch in charge? Like, or like,
yeah.
Or, who's, and I think I would imagine when you have a baby, like, because you're like the only thing keeping the baby alive, there's this sense of like, I must control all aspects of like what the baby is eating and doing and whatever. So I could see how that would be like, feel like a lot of pressure, and then someone kind of minimizing it would feel anxiety ridden.
Yes. Yeah, I get it. I will say, I think having kind of moved through that phase And I validate it. That was me. I was in it. Things that I remember mom gave one of the girls like, soft serve ice cream at some point when they were like not really eating solid foods. And I was like, okay, now they've had like this processed, cream, whatever. Like I remember being annoyed by that. But now that I'm on the
She
other
gave my
side of
dog
it,
chocolate cake. So I
okay.
realized yes. She's like,
Yeah,
it's fine. My
it's
dog used to
fine. It'll
eat
be
that all the
fine.
time. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Like
And then to
you know,
say
I,
it's fine isn't right. Not even to say like, I'm sorry. It's like,
yes.
right. So now now that I have the dog, I can relate to like, that's a little annoying when they're just doing whatever it's more like they're just doing whatever they want and not deferring to you. Yeah.
Yes. Not deferring to you. This is your baby. This is your turn to do it your way. And, did the dog die from eating the chocolate cake? Thank God, no.
He did have some
But
diarrhea though.
right.
Very
So that's
annoying.
annoying. That is annoying. I mean, there
Yeah.
are some consequences, perhaps. Even I could see with the sugar, you're like, now he thinks every banana that he has is going to be coated in powdered sugar. And then when it's not coated in powdered sugar, maybe he's not going to want to eat it. I could see why it's bothering her. But I do think in the nature of peace and harmony in family, I think it is good for some of these new moms to have a little bit of just empathy for the mother-in-law role, where it's like they did this thing, they feel like they raised someone that was pretty good. You picked the person that they raised, so they probably did a pretty decent job at it. And I think, yes, you should have your boundaries and you should be able to set your boundaries. We could talk about that and how to do that with this mother-in-law. But I also think sometimes realizing like that was their whole identity probably for a long time. And they're maybe feeling, like reminiscent about that. And like, this is a chance to kind of get back into that, which was so special and meaningful for them. So they're struggling and they have no power here. You have all the power, which is why I think sometimes it is up to the daughter in these mother-in-law, daughter-in-law situations. If you can, I'm not saying first 6 weeks postpartum or like first couple of months, take care of you, do what you got to do. But at some point to come around and say, one day I will be this person and I will want a little bit of care from my daughter-in-law to recognize like they want to help, they want to love, they want to be involved, they want to be there for some of this stuff too. And in whatever way you can to be a little bit empathic and soft while setting these firm boundaries around the things that I get you want to be respected.
Right.
And I think some of it, and the trouble that I notice that a lot of my patients have around setting boundaries with the mother-in-laws, they don't want to come off as mean or harsh, but you may have to do kind of like the no thanks. I'm not going to be contributing an extra $5. Please don't give that to him.
Right.
That's
polite
it.
and firm.
Polite and
Yes.
firm. And then the next step too is tolerating that they might not like it. They might have a little puss on their face or get a little pouty or be a little upset, and that's okay. And then maybe
Right.
later you can find a place where you can make them. I think the other piece is finding a place that's comfortable for you to make them feel involved and loved and part of things in a way that
Right.
I think sometimes you get so like tight around it. Like I'm the head bitch in charge, like you said,
Right.
that then you subconsciously kind of push them out and they're always trying to find their way in to the point where then they're like doing the thing that you don't want. Like it almost becomes this power struggle.
Right.
So
Give them a special role.
throw them a bone, give them something that works for you that makes them feel loved and cared for and included. And I think you'll find that then they'll maybe not be doing these subconsciously annoying things to kind of be like,
Get in there. Yeah.
yes, get in there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How would you rate this trigger?
If I'm her in that moment, I'd probably feel like maybe a banana. I don't know if it was like, but yeah, I'd maybe feel like a 6 in that moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Looking back on it now, at being a mom, having done this 13 years ago, I'd feel like it's maybe like a 4 because it wasn't like she was giving him
Right.
chunks of granola or like something that he was going to choke on or
Yeah.
something really dangerous.
Right. I'll give it a 5, somewhere in between there, because
Yeah.
I could see both sides. I personally, when I read it, I didn't think it was that triggering, but also I feel like when you're in it, like I was quite triggered when our mom gave my dog like something that was just like obviously very much not
Right.
it's not supposed to give him, and it wasn't, and it also just like wasn't apologetic. I think that's like the other annoying part of it. If the mom was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that like you hadn't already
Yes.
given him bananas or whatever." Like, I think the reaction to the fuck up is also the
Yes.
kind of important. And she seemed to do the patronizing, like, "All
Mommy
right,
said
like,
no.
okay,
Right.
mom's like a dictator. We're not allowed to do
Yeah.
this." Like, I do, right. I do
Yes.
think that's almost more annoying than the acts. Like, if she accidentally was giving him the banana and she was like, "Oh, please don't do that," and she was like, "Oh, I'm so
Oh,
sorry."
so sorry.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that would lower the
Totally.
trigger score, but I do think
Yeah.
it's like she's making the mom out. She's almost like gaslighting the mom to seem like she's like a crazy controlling bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I could see that. I definitely could see that piece of it. Why the reaction was a huge part of it. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, grandparents love to feed kids and dogs and, let her have a role in that somewhere down the line. Maybe teach her like this is exactly what, if you want to come by after brunch, maybe we can, give him some banana and you can be there for that.
Together.
And like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All
So,
right. Good luck. Let's do another one.
yeah.
Okay, I have a triggering situation that I could really use some help navigating. A few months ago, I was hanging out with a close friend of mine. She and her husband have been struggling with fertility issues for years, and during a vulnerable conversation over wine, she opened up about how her maid of honor had recently become pregnant. The pregnancy was the result of a one-night stand, and while unexpected, this woman has really stepped up. She's cleaning up her life and preparing to become a mom, and I've honestly been proud of her transformation. But what really unsettled me was how my friend responded. She said something along the lines of, "She's a train wreck. She won't be a good mom and doesn't deserve her pregnancy." I understand that she's speaking from a place of deep pain and frustration, but hearing her tear down another woman in such a raw moment really stuck with me. I didn't confront her about it at the time. I just changed the subject and let it go, giving her grace in the moment. Fast forward to now. I'm pregnant with my first child. It wasn't exactly planned. My husband and I weren't trying, but we also weren't preventing. I've always been kind of 50-50 about having kids, and she's known that about me. Because of all this, I didn't tell her I was pregnant before sharing it publicly on social media. Honestly, I was afraid of what she might say, not necessarily to me, but about me. After my post, she texted me and said she was hurt that I didn't tell her directly. She felt like I grouped her in with everyone else. And now I've heard through mutual friends that she's saying I don't deserve this pregnancy because I've always been unsure about becoming a mom. I want to confront this. I want to have a conversation, but I don't even know where to begin or if it's even worth trying. Should I have compassion and open the door, or is this a sign that it's time to cut ties?
All right.
Okay.
What do you think?
This is clearly a projection of someone's like frustration with their own situation. Right. And it's like it's fucked up to say those things like out loud to other people, but I could see why she would think them in her head. She's like,
Right.
I've had like similar thoughts of like, it's really annoying that this person wasn't even trying and they like, they had a baby and like, that's annoying. I wouldn't say they don't deserve it because like, who deserves anything at all ever? Like, what do
Right.
I deserve that I have in my life? But I could see, I think the real feeling is like an envy and like a feeling of like, it seems unfair that like some people just, have kids and aren't even sure they want them. And I'm, like the rolling, like the card I was dealt for this particular part of my life is like, feels like unfair or like unwarranted. And like this other person seems to have it way easier when they want it less badly. And that's like I think that's a valid, frustrating feeling. Again, the way that she's phrasing it and twisting it to like they don't deserve it or they shouldn't have this thing that's going really well for them and it's going really easy for them is not right. But I would chalk it up to her circumstances and like fine, she's telling people you don't deserve it. Like anyone who hears that is going to think she sounds crazy.
Right.
I think it's kind of people have this like huge fear of like being judged or being thought of in a certain way when it's like that's what we're constantly doing all the time.
Yeah. It is true.
I think it's okay
I
to take some
agree.
space from the person.
Yeah. And I do think she can talk to her about it too.
Yeah.
It's similar to the thing with the, my arms look huge. It's kind of like
Right.
you can have that thought, I guess. Maybe it's not ideal to have that thought, but you can have that thought. But realizing that when you say that in front of someone else, now that person's going to think, well, what are you thinking about me? That's just the
Right.
natural course of how this is going to go. So I'm sure, I mean, anytime you're around someone that's like talking a bunch of crap about other people, I have that
You
thought
always
of
think
like,
that. Yeah.
what are they saying about me when I'm not around? So I do think that
Right.
there is
And the
that.
friend's problem is that she's like, she's not like self-aware enough to internalize that thought about her. Like, it'd be one thing if she said it's so frustrating that this friend got pregnant on a one night stand and she didn't even like, it's like, I'm so frustrated by that. It feels very like,
Yes.
it's like a little enraging for me that it's so easy for some people and it's so hard for me.
Yes.
To put it on her, I think is where the friend is going wrong, to say like, she doesn't deserve this. She's, there's like a negative thing about her when really it's like a frustration with the circumstances and not, like and that doesn't sound like how she phrased it at all. So I could see why the friend's like turned off by this behavior.
Yeah. And I think if you do choose to talk to her about it, I think you could say it just like that. Like, I want you to be able to open up about this. I want you to be able to talk to me and say, I'm enraged, or I'm so frustrated, or even like, it's not fair, or I feel so jealous, or whatever you feel.
Mhm.
I want you to be able to say those things to me. But the part that made it feel like, that made me then distance myself when I had my own news, was when you said she doesn't deserve this pregnancy. That to me felt, that was where I kind of decided to take a left and like not tell you when I was pregnant, because I didn't want you to feel that way about me.
Right.
So I think that is kind of letting her say, like, yes, have all these feelings. They're all normal. I'd probably feel exactly the same way if I were in your position. But the she doesn't deserve it comment is pretty judgmental and mean. And you don't want, like, it's hard to then move forward with a friendship when you feel like this person has just sized up my entire character based on this, that
Right.
I'm
My
now pregnant.
deservingness of, right. And also, like, again, who deserves anything? Everything is
Right.
totally fucking random. Like, who does,
Yeah.
like, what does anyone
It's,
deserve? Their
yeah,
house, their
it's
job, their whatever.
totally.
Like,
It's delusional, and you have to talk to like an 8-year-old about this. Like, it's delusional to think that life is fair because you want something the most means that like you
you
should
get
get
it?
it.
Right.
No, it's a delusional thought. It kind of comes back to just, I think, the way you described it. I'm frustrated, I'm enraged, I'm jealous. I wish things were fair and it worked out like that,
Yeah.
but that's not
That's
kind of
okay.
how it
Right.
is.
All
Yeah.
okay comments.
Yes.
Not okay, like, judging someone else's worthiness. Not okay.
Yeah.
And I think, I do think if she's gonna talk to the friend, I would open again with like, because I actually do think that it would be very triggering for the friend to have seen that her friend is pregnant on social media.
Yeah.
I actually recently like had this discussion with someone else. I think like, I do think sometimes people like would do that because they don't want to like text you and make you feel like it's like, they've got like this big thing and like make it a bigger deal. But I do think that it is kind of hurtful to find out that way. Like, I think most people prefer to find out privately through a text. And so I think if she wants to like own her part in this, I think she could say, I'm sorry I didn't tell you before. And I think she already said that when her friend texted her to yell her at her about it. But I think if she wants
Mhm.
to open up this conversation, she could start by reiterating that like she didn't realize that was going to be triggering or upsetting for her. So she can apologize and then say, however, I
Mhm.
did hear that you are telling people that I don't deserve this, which is really hurtful to me and makes me not want to tell you or talk to you about this subject at all.
Right.
So like,
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good way to start it. Like, it was hard news to find out already, and I can imagine it would be even harder to find it out when you're just like, I think being, taken off guard with this, you're like on a Tuesday morning just waking up and scrolling, and all of a sudden you find out that someone you're close to is pregnant, that's a really got to be a hard moment. Start off your day in a really weird and kind of, just uncomfortable way. So totally validate that. But I do think this friend needs to take some ownership over like how you talk about people when they're not there affects
Right.
the way that the other people are going to be able to interact with you. So I do think she needs to own that a little bit.
Totally. And how you talk about people who are doing better than you in certain aspects of life can feel like a big part of your character.
Yep.
Like it is not pleasant to be around someone who's just hates on anyone that's doing better in any aspect of their life than another person that's, richer or has a better job or, has kids who are more successful, whatever it is. Like, I do think that is like an icky part of her personality that you might want to take into consideration as you're assessing the friendship going forward. But I think it's worth like a chat because clearly this like issue is lingering over the friendship.
Yeah. And again, for anyone who has those feelings, which is everyone, basically, when you're feeling, jealous or like you want to kind of talk crap about somebody, I think that's the moment to do the thing that, we were talking about doing earlier, which is like the 30th birthday. Like, what is really hurting here? And just honor that. Give that some time. Like, let yourself do the thing where you're like, this isn't really about her and whether or not she deserves her baby. This is about me feeling sad and grieving this loss or longing that I have to be a mother. That's what's happening here.
Right.
It's not about her. So sometimes if you can quiet all the noise and come back to that place of like, this is what's being triggered, it's probably the same thing that's going to be triggered again tomorrow, the next day, anything that happens, a negative pregnancy test, whatever the things are that are bugging you. If you can become aware of what that deeper thing is, so that whenever you get that way, instead of lashing out and getting angry and causing fights and kind of like maybe negatively affecting all your relationships, you can just be like, okay, here it is again.
Yep.
This is on me to like it's screaming for attention. This needs to be seen in a deeper way than an angry way. This needs to be seen in like a soft, vulnerable way.
Agreed. This friend definitely needs a therapist.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I would give this one a 5 because I think it's very jarring to hear that like a friend is saying that you don't deserve anything that's going well in your life. Like if I heard a friend was saying I didn't deserve anything, like any aspect that I was like happened to be going well for me, I think that would be upsetting. But knowing that she's had this like super long, super stressful experience with it, I would like not take it quite as personally. I don't think I would believe that I didn't deserve it. So
Right. You know where it's
I
coming
yeah,
from.
coming from. I'd give it a 5.
Yeah, I agree. If this was like an out of the blue comment because you bought a new house that was like, really nice and someone said you don't deserve it, like for no
Right.
reason at all, you'd be like, okay, that's a 7. That's my friend. That sounds like something an enemy would say
Right.
about
Who,
me.
like wishes me bad things for me. Right.
But yes, considering that you know what she's going through and you know where it's really coming from, and you were a little avoidant on like not telling her and posting it. Yeah, I agree. 5 sounds about right to me.
Okay. Well, we did it. Proud of us.
We did it. All right. That's our time.
Great work today.